Hello, welcome to this Microsoft Excel lesson. I am your host and instructor, Ruben Herrera. And on this lesson, my friends, we are going to learn how to do a VLOOKUP with a different database, or when the database is on a different sheet on your workbook or on a totally different workbook. Okay, so before we do this, my friends, you guys already know that requirements of how your spreadsheet or your report needs to look like before we do a VLOOKUP. We already went over that on a previous lesson. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right here first, I have to make sure that I have my other report open like so. So I have two spreadsheets right here. If you notice, I have one report that contains my database, one spreadsheet that contains my database, and another spreadsheet right here that contains, where I'm gonna write my VLOOKUP. For those of you who are taking my course at the community college, you should have the other workbook right here on your classroom exercises folder. Okay, very nice. So for this right here, I'm going to go ahead and move to this right here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and write the same VLOOKUP that we write from the very first lesson. I don't mean to be repetitive, but the reason why I want to use the same example and I want to use the same VLOOKUP is so that we can, first of all, we can understand very good how a VLOOKUP works. And then number two, and also important, we can learn more in how to embrace from the same VLOOKUP, and this way it's easier to understand and embrace VLOOKUPs, and then therefore you can use later, you will be able to use different databases and criterias and why not. Okay, so to do a VLOOKUP, my friends, on a different sheet or on a different workbook, there is a mistake. There is something that it gives students a headache. Okay, now, at the time when I'm recording this video, I'm still using a technique that works for all versions of Excel. That is at least obviously from Excel 2007. This technique that I'm using, it applies to all versions of Excel and it works with all versions of Excel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and type my VLOOKUP in here. So I'm going to start right here. Notice that I have my other report right here waiting for me. So I'm going to go in here and type equals VLOOKUP. Okay, my lookup value, I'm going to type it right here. Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to go to my other report. Because my next first, I'm sorry, my next argument is my table array or my database. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my other report and I'm going to select my database like so. Okay, and here's the mistake that a lot of students or users make. It just makes sense to me that I should go back to my other report where I am typing or entering my VLOOKUP. But actually, you're not supposed to. Or it's better not to do it, because if we do, then we break that link of the VLOOKUP. So we actually, after we select our database or our external database in another place, we need to continue and finish our VLOOKUP right here on this same spreadsheet. And we have to do it right here on that formula bar. This is the place that I love to hate because I cannot see it anymore. You may notice that I like to enter my formulas directly right here on the spreadsheet, but for this time I have to do it right here. Notice that Excel already put some kind of code in here for me, which I can understand it now, but I never try to memorize it. I rather learn the steps. Okay, so let me do this again. Let me go back and do this again. So, because I rather learn the steps than try to type in the code. So I'm going to do equals VLOOKUP like this. My first argument, it's right here, comma, my table array. I want to go right here to my other spreadsheet. Select my database. Very good. Now I'm going to continue right here. And Excel just typed this code and this second argument for me. So I'm just going to click right here once and then type comma, because that was the end of my second argument. Now remember, we have to finish in here because if we try to go back to the other Excel workbook, we will break the link. Okay, so my column index number is going to be 4. We've done that before with the same database. And we want this to be false. We want this to be an exact match. I'm going to close my parentheses, and now I have my VLOOKUP in here, my friends. Very nice. So I'm going to go ahead and now press enter, and look what happened. Boom, there you go. It automatically takes me back to my original spreadsheet where I enter my VLOOKUP, and my VLOOKUP right here is rocking and is waiting for me to be utilized. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cheat right here. Very, very, very simple. I want to go ahead and copy and paste this copy, and then I'm gonna go right here to my different to my other spreadsheet, and then I'm going to type in here. Very nice. Enter. There you go. You see, it works. Yay! Very nice. So that key to be learned in this lesson, my friends, is just to make sure whenever you're doing your VLOOKUP, when you select your database, your external database, make sure that you continue and finish your VLOOKUP in that same database. Very nice. So I went ahead and jumped ahead and did this exercise right here on with a whole different workbook, but it's the exact same procedure if I'm doing it with a different sheet same within my same workbook. Okay, it's exact same procedure. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip this right here, and then I'm gonna go in here on this example right here, compare 1 and compare 2. Now I'm gonna use a VLOOKUP to compare two reports. Okay, and what I like about this VLOOKUP is because I can, depending on that perspective, depending on how you're looking at this VLOOKUP, you can use this VLOOKUP to find duplicates, or to find records that do not exist, or to find new records, or to find records that do not exist. Very nice. And what we're going to do, my friends, we're going to do the exact same procedure that we just did for doing a VLOOKUP on a different spreadsheet. But instead, I'm going to be clever with this. And instead of doing a column index 4 to retrieve the price, I created an extra column in here that say yes, and then I'm just populated right here by double clicking on the angry rabbit. And what I want to do, I want to compare these two reports right here. Compare report number 1, compare report number 2. And what I want to do, my friends, it's pretending that I retrieved this report first. Okay, let's say that I got this report last week or last month, whatever. And then I'm just got a new report, the second report, report number 2. And I want to find out what report or what records or what models of computers in this case I am missing, or what is new. Okay, for this report number 2, or something that exists on report number 2 that does not exist on report number 1, or vice versa, depending on how you're looking at it. Okay, and you use the same VLOOKUP. It all depends how you want to look at it. So let us go ahead and take this VLOOKUP for a test drive. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and let me zoom this very quick. Okay, very nice. And I'm going to start my VLOOKUP in here, and I'm going to do equals VLOOKUP. My lookup value, I'm going to be looking at this model right here. Remember, because I'm going to compare now this report, the second report, against report number 1. If I wanted to compare report number 1 against number 2, then I will have to put the VLOOKUP on the first report and not on the second report. Okay, but I'm comparing this one against the prior report, which is report number 1. Okay, so my lookup value, what I'm looking for is going to be this. So my VLOOKUP is going to look for this, okay, comma, my table array, and it's going to be looking for it on this database in here, right here. Very nice. On this database. Very nice. Now remember, my friends, I have to continue and finish my VLOOKUP in here. So I'm going to click in here, press comma. My column index number, I don't want to know the price. Now I want to know if that model, if that record exists, yes or no. So, and instead of giving me the price, and instead of column index 4 because it's the fourth column, I'm going to put a 5 because it's the fifth column and I want a yes instead. So I'm going to put 5 comma. Do I want this to be a true or false exact match? So I'm going to put false. I'm going to go ahead and tab this, close my VLOOKUP. There you go. Very, very geeky and very powerful function. I'm going to go ahead and press enter and take this for the test drive. Enter. There you go. Yes. So this VLOOKUP right here, it looked for this model number in this report right here, and it does exist, so it returned a yes for me. I'm going to go ahead and now finish to populate the rest of my report by double clicking right here on the fill handle, or when I see the angry rabbit mouse pointer, and I'm going to say cha-chin. There you go. Very nice. So all these records right here that says yes, they do exist. Oh, how about this one right here? This one right here. I have a not available one. Very nice. So that means that this record right here does not exist on report number 1, meaning that this is missing for report number 1, or this is new for the newest report, or this is a non-duplicate, or this is a unique model. Whichever way you want to do it, my friends, it is the same VLOOKUP. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys right here with this VLOOKUP so that you guys can see it, embrace it, and love it. And I want to thank you so much again for being on this lesson. I hope that you guys have a great day, and bye bye.